What's up, everybody? I am the sis that don't miss. Welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, thank you for joining. Today, we are going to be giving them all the smoke to make them choke. So come on in and have the conversation because you know I am that lady that is shaping the nation. Let's go. Now, I am not a Coco. I am very much a bitch, you gonna wake your ass up over here or get the fuck out of my way. Okay? So, that being said, as we creep into our higher level of divine because you are the predator, you have to remind yourself that a lot of people need nothing more than proximity, and proximity is the most dangerous thing you can give people who are trying to destiny swap you anyway and have been since day one. So today's dummy of the year, dummy of the day, however you'd like to put it, is this one. Okay? Who were the red bones? Not you. Okay? But in between your crow's feet, lack of elasticity, and aging, sunspots, spray tan, we're gonna teach you why you can't always put stupid things on the internet because these black mirrors are giant receipts. And baby, we finna hit you with your own receipts. You know who you are. Now, if you knew my last video, you haven't watched it, go check it out. I tell you and break down the Italian hierarchy that is failing, okay? The one they tried to create by pretty much just sleeping with all their enemies, and now they're all at war because they all know they're pretending to be other people, and the main people they're pretending to be are the red bones. Okay, now if you're a black person, okay, we all know that red bones is something we use in our communities often. But what people don't look at is how people like this come online playing in your face knowing they know who they are. And this is who I've been telling people forever. People can't like you when their only goal is to bystep you at being you. Now, just a couple years ago, you were talking about your Italian American experience. Now you're up here talking about the Negro's destiny. You're connecting to your native heritage. We're just going to let you know this and sit this right here for the world to see. You're not invited. Okay, you're not invited. You've never been invited. And if you ever step too close, we are going to send you back to where you come from. And that is definitely not a threat. It is the only promise that matters as we reset the world. Now, let's continue. Is white extinction real? Absolutely, we're creating it. Now, no one cares about your race because you don't even like your own race, because your race is not superior. So your only reason for existence at a time like now, where the frequencies of the world are only messed up because there's too many of people like you and not enough of us, okay, you need to have a seat and listen, okay? You're not African. And if you were, that would make sense why you hate yourself so much. But we are indigenous to these roots. And in order to be an Indian, okay, you have to have Indian connections. As a Puerto Rican, I am the only Hispanic who is really connected to indigenous roots through Taino blood. Okay, and we have the highest level of Taino blood, and what they won't tell you is we are damn near 75% Taino. Okay, we're not 13%, 16, 20%. No, man, we're all the way there. Okay, and this is one reason why when you explain your own ancestry to people who are black or non what you are, a lot of times they hit you with the you're not light enough. Biracials have overstepped what they're really in the place to do, which is just shine in the place of you. Okay, now they're the ones who also want your lineage too. So if you did not know, the woman that we're talking about is no different, than the Africans who pop up on your timeline, getting rich, getting views, getting likes, getting conversations started that they don't include you in because they're continuing your conversations. And your conversations as Black indigenous people rule the nation. Every nation. Okay, so they're doing nothing more than discussing the battles that Black Americans foundationally face when it comes to conquering, eliminating, beating the matrix at the hands of white people who know we are the red bones. Now, whether it's Vivica A. Fox, whether it's Kevin Gates, who is the same genetic makeup as me, Puerto Rican and Black American, everyone in the Black community knows who red bones are, and most of the time we do not have to assert ourselves because we are always a magnet to people who know their indigenous roots. But one thing it leads to is the proximity of competition from biracials who feel that the closer they are to white, the closer they can get to destiny swapping you, and the world is going to accept it. But we all know what red bones look like, and original red bones, sadly, a lot of them, like Sierra, Beyonce, and all the other transgenders, are the main ones who are bleaching because they don't want to be a part of their own hierarchy. Okay, their minds are reprobate, so they are not the people who would be the types of examples you need to understand. Most of them want to breathe themselves out, not because they found the right partner and they're in love, but because they're still competing against the original red bones and their identity. Okay? Now, the destruction of Black doctors and stories like this is actually what led me to my own revelation of understanding my divinity and why no one wanted me to really be great, even after doing all the work, getting in debt, and paying it off to do so. Now, there are a lot of people who are rebranding their image for nothing more than you want to be native now. But that doesn't change your frequencies. All it changes is the amount of proximity you're going to start giving people who don't understand who they are. But the people who do, they love who they are. They just don't understand why other people don't love their own love. Okay, in other words, you can't be a red bone and love a red bone that much. You have me, okay? And this is what a lot of people are meeting during their journeys of self-enlightenment, okay, and ascension. While Becky is out here traveling the world, okay, as a mother, traveling the world, to find out the identity she's stolen, like in Ireland, okay, here they'll be like, I'm Irish. They're not. They're just white people who want to be. And again, in between their age spots and fake spray tans, they go to these regions of the world and find out the hard way, your hierarchy is not real. Okay, everyone knows it's not real, but they benefit from it, so they pretend it only when they're not around you. When you come to their places of comfortability, most of the time they assimilate to whiteness. Now, people like this, who like to stand in the place of their divine dark feminine, are the very people a lot of y'all need to do away with. Now, I understand everyone has their communities, but a lot of these people are problematic because what they're doing is praising toxic femininity. And people like this help praise it even more because they are nothing more than a catalyst to the damage you face as a darker skinned red bone or darker, okay, being indigenous in America. And they're always standing in the places of your birthrights and your people who birthed you. And they do not usually look like them. They're not mixed with whiteness. Again, when you mix Taino blood with Black American blood, you get red bones. You do not get lighter, okay? And this is why a lot of people are also disappointed when they have biracials who are darker. Most of those people intended to have lighter children. But when you breed indigenous with indigenous, you're going to get darker. These are the people who keep perpetuating that their lightness is more exotical and they can be Latina, they can be Italian, they can be whatever, they can be everything but biracial because white people said no and Black people are still stunting on them so hard. The only image they have to hide behind is Blackness. And a lot of Black people don't realize you're the only people who are inclusive of people who have excluded you from everything, even basic living. So when you earn different things, a lot of Black people in America don't even realize how much you went through to get it compared to other people because you're used to working for it. People like this get by on the ladder of pretending they're better than they are. Again, Lotto is the same person who was competing as a 16-year-old against 12-year-old Black girls, okay, for the position of considered the best rapper, okay? Who are really problematic are the yellow bones who are still trying to appeal to the African-esque men who hate themselves. And sadly, most women don't even realize these are the same down low Black men who are usually prison hustlers and Africans who hate themselves. That's why Africa has 54 nations, and all they can do is talk about what we're doing in America as the small amount of Black people here. I said what I said. Okay, they're not worried about Black Brazilians or anyone else in the Americas, just us. Now this says, to me, biracial children raised by Black women who are not Native Black Americans are also somewhat confused because they are mostly raised as white children or biracial children. Black American mothers teach their biracial children how to maneuver being Black in the U.S., while Black women living in Europe or outside of the U.S. make it a point to raise their biracial children to embrace their whiteness. Growing up Black in the U.S. is not like growing up Black in other countries. Correct, because this is about the only place you can speak your mind and the whole country don't come together to try to delete you because they need you. That's the difference. The only time you see white America trying to protect Black Americans is when they're about to get overrun with people who don't like Blackness and they need your Blackness to survive. Your creativity, your audacity, your humor, everything that makes them feel they can do you better. Okay, but they only get it from you. Again, white people all over the world are pretending we're having the same divine conversations. You've had all your life to be free and come to these conclusions. You wouldn't be coming to it now. And again, while they're still online pretending they're heterosexual, okay, most of us already know that we come from a long line of classy red bones who have been eliminated and have been eliminated from the media since well before the 90s. Okay, but the biracials who still stand to gain from proximity are the only ones they are giving proximity. And again, what a lot of people are hoping to get, at least black people who date biracials, a lot of times is proximity to whiteness. When they realize they don't get that, most people just go straight for the white person. And most white people are not trying to give you the gates to freedom. Okay? Your freedom will be in bondage or servitude to them, helping them create the bloodline. Again, for every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. Self-hatred, not knowing who you are, not appreciating your culture, not being able to replicate the rituals and holidays and cultural connections that make you connect are why a lot of people who think they are chosen or are actually chosen are not able to find themselves in their own communities. There are too many tethers, and most of those tethers are Africans and biracials. No one gets in your way harder than people who don't know themselves or are not accepted for who they are. The white community does not accept biracials. Why does the black community include them? Separate the biracials from your community and watch how quick the black community starts to heal and the white community has to start addressing their own racism, and why, out of a world full of all this hatred, including self-hatred, that they still choose to create biracials. If you understood that most of the foster care systems and children's that systems that house children, the majority of those children in these systems are biracial or Africans. Okay? Sadly, what they won't talk about is how so many people have one-night stands, particularly white women, have one-night stands, and they disown their child because of the struggle it will be to raise them in a white society that hates black skin or darker skin tones. So if they don't get the biracial that comes out with the light colored eyes and the straighter texture hair and things like that, most of them feel their mission is void. So they abandon the mission. Okay, at that point, you'd understand why most of our country's funding goes to supporting women who are nothing more than concubines for stupidity. Okay, I said what I said. Look at all the commercials and different things where they're like, I love you, black man. I love you, black. Of course you do. You love everything but yourself. Okay, if you loved yourself, you would be okay with other people loving themselves. And for most people who are problematic, self-hating, and destiny swappers, when you love yourself, it becomes a pillar, okay, of hatred in their minds for the fact that everything they have done up until this point proves that no matter what they put into place, the ether around you will always find a way to make you proud of who you are, and nobody taught you that. It is self-induced. Okay, you might be proud of yourself for reaching certain heights, but as a black person from America, indigenously, going through all that you go through, nobody can really be as proud of themselves a lot of times as you, outside of the people who are white or other races and come from poverty and grow to be exceptional people and realize that color is not the enemy, it is character. And most people lack character. So it doesn't matter what color they're reborn into or try to recreate, their character will always show who they are. And again, we're talking about dummies. And the dummies we're talking about today are the very people who are pretending they are joining your delineation because they're Americans. If you go ahead and start identifying yourself the way everyone else did, you will see why so many people are trying to blur the lines between Italian, Hispanic, Arabic, and many other things. But what they can't blur the lines of is indigenous. Indigenous people are dark. And one thing they're trying to do, as most people are coming into their enlightenment, is pretend me too. Okay, so again, stop giving people proximity. Cut off the Africans. Okay, cut off the biracials. I don't care that they want proximity to blackness. If your white side doesn't accept you, we don't have to. Okay, and again, your white side is the one who pandered so hard to collect a black person. If light skin and biracial, okay, relationships were not so over glamorized. Most people in biracial relationships will not even be in them because they're not exciting. They're just advertised. People who still have a high level of consciousness, a lot of those people will choose being alone before they choose being with the wrong person. And that is why so many people who seem to have high spirits and high frequency tend to be single, because the only mating options they're really giving you as Indigenous Black Americans are trash. Okay, in between deleting all of the actual Indigenous people and saying it's just so sad and it's just another news story, they're taking out the Indigenous and leaving and promoting the trashy people of every race, okay, but particularly biracials and Black people. And they're trying to make you compete with low level, low vibrational, lower educated people and pretend that it's actually giving you a run for your money. That's why I'm so proud of the people who are boycotting. But if you're going to boycott for real, start boycotting people who stand in your place but don't want you in the same positions. And then you'll see why I say people like Chrissy and other people who spend all day talking about biracials, arguing with exotical channels, you're all mentally ill and you're all hating on the people who are actually Indigenous. A lot of these conversations that I've started on the internet, it's hilarious watching people who are non-Indigenous but claim to be Black American continue these conversations but don't want you as the Indigenous person who started it to join the conversation. And this is also why so many people end up running in circles when it comes to divinity and ascension. You never get there because while you're on your journey, you stop at a tether or a destiny swapper. And while you're in the process of getting your destiny swapped, they're doing nothing more than having you come to their channels, pour your soul out, your experiences out, hiding behind those experiences and making those experiences the basis of their life and figuring out what they need to do to make people think that they are you. Okay? Again, most Black people wouldn't watch entertainment if they did not see themselves in any way. The people who love to watch media and entertainment all the time, when they don't see themselves, they're the people you may want to stay far away from, because they're letting you know, included or not, I still like to support my tethers and the people that hate me. Okay, when there are people who you look just like you, who you could support. Okay, so again, as we align and rise, I want you guys to think about how many people are really outside of their element and using proximity, and how the only thing social media gives you is proximity to people who hate you. So a lot of times before they connect the red bones on the algorithm, they'll make sure that you see everyone else. But because I will fuck this ether up and take the numbers wherever I need to take them from, you will hear me, and you will hear me loud and clear. That being said, stay tuned for my next video. As we change the world, so shall everything be. Again, as we were. I love what I do. And when you are sent for a divine mission, you don't stop until it's complete, and there's not one peasant of the earth who could ever get in your way. Remember, they know you're a predator. You may want to stop praying and get in position. I'll talk to you next time. Y'all know I'm the sister don't miss. Toodles. Ashiwe bono.